Can I ask you something a little uncomfortable? Take a moment to look at your life today. How much of your daily existence is actually yours? Think about the choices you make every single day. Consider your career path. Think about the clothes you choose to wear or the products you buy. Reflect on the opinions you keep to yourself. Why do you choose to stay quiet in those moments? Even the version of yourself that you present to others, is it truly you, or a carefully crafted mask? How much of your identity comes from your own desires, and how much comes from the need to be accepted? We often find ourselves trapped in a cycle, trying to become the person that everybody else likes. But here is the hidden tragedy. You can spend your entire life molding yourself for others. You might succeed in being liked by everyone, yet still feel a deep dislike for the person you have become. This brings us to one of the most profound questions in life. What does it mean to live authentically? It is interesting to note that most of us do not wake up one morning and decide to be fake. It happens so gradually that we barely notice the shift. We start testing which versions of ourselves earn approval. Perhaps you become the successful one at work, or the funny one in your social circle. Maybe you become the strong one who never breaks, or the person who never says no to a request. You keep everyone else happy, and eventually, you get so good at playing that role that you forget it is a role. That is when something strange happens. From the outside, your life looks perfectly fine to observers. But inside, there is a quiet, persistent feeling that lingers. A voice whispers, "This is not really me." Have you ever felt that disconnect? If you have, please know that you are definitely not alone. The Stoics wrestled with this exact problem thousands of years ago. Consider the life of Marcus Aurelius. As the emperor of Rome, he lived under immense pressure. Everyone was watching him, wanting something from him. He dealt with constant demands for power, reputation, and high expectations from the entire empire. Yet, in his private journals, he kept returning to one core idea. What kind of person am I choosing to be? He did not focus on what people would think. He did not worry about whether they would approve of his actions. Instead, he asked, "Am I living according to my own principles?" That is a fundamentally different question. Authentic living does not mean doing whatever you feel like doing in the moment. It means knowing what you stand for, and having the courage to live your life accordingly. Here is where the path becomes difficult. Being your true self will sometimes disappoint the people around you. You might say no to a request, and someone gets upset. You change your direction, and they do not understand. You stop tolerating certain behaviors, and someone labels you as selfish. It is a common reaction. Suddenly, you start questioning your own judgment. You wonder if you should just go back to keeping everyone happy. But here is the fundamental problem. Every time you betray yourself to gain approval, you pay a price. You pay for that external validation with a little piece of your own soul. Eventually, the price of that approval becomes too high to sustain. You begin to lose your sense of self. This does not mean you should ignore the feelings of others. Authenticity is not the same as arrogance. You can still be kind. You can still listen to others. You can still compromise when it matters. But you do not have to abandon your own values just to belong to a group. So, how do you start the journey of living more authentically? Try something surprisingly simple. Before making an important decision, pause and ask yourself 3 specific questions. First, would I still choose this path if nobody was there to applaud me? Second, am I doing this because I genuinely want it, or because I am afraid of disappointing someone? And finally, does this choice move me closer to the person I respect? That last question is incredibly powerful. Focus on the person you respect, not the person others admire. Authenticity is not a hidden treasure you suddenly discover buried deep inside yourself. It is something you build, choice by choice, conversation by conversation, and boundary by boundary. Something shifts when you start doing this. You stop feeling the need to explain yourself constantly. You stop chasing the approval of everyone you meet. You stop pretending to enjoy things you actually dislike. You become more comfortable saying, "That is simply not for me." Strangely enough, you do not become a colder person. You actually become freer. You are no longer spending all that energy maintaining a fake version of yourself for others. You are finally available to actually live your own life. So here is something to think about today. Where in your life are you performing instead of living? Maybe it is in your career, or a specific relationship, or your friendships. It might be the way you present yourself to the world on a daily basis. You do not have to change your entire life tonight. Just start with one honest choice. Make one decision that reflects who you really are, rather than who you think you should be. Perhaps the secret to authentic living is not about finding yourself at all. Maybe it is finally having the courage to stop abandoning yourself. Think more deeply and live more intentionally. Repeat this process for a lifetime of growth. New videos are released every week to help you on this path. Subscribe and join the journey toward a wiser, calmer, and more meaningful life.